So I just want to share with you my encouragement, my scripture for the week, or just what God's been teaching me. I'm doing an amazing Bible study right now called Elijah. And it's by Priscilla Shriver. She is the one who was in the war room, if you're familiar with that. And she just has great insights on some things. And I want to read a lot to you actually today. But we've been reading in Elijah, but also Jeremiah. And so we take a moment to read Jeremiah 48:11. And it says, Moab has been left quiet since its youth, settled like a wine on its dregs. He hasn't been poured from one container to the other or gone into exile. So his taste has remained the same, and his aroma hasn't changed. I don't know if you've ever been to a vineyard before or seen the wine fermentation process where the grapes go to wine, but it's kind of fascinating. So after the grapes are plucked, they go ahead and they put them into the barrels, and this is where the fermentation process begins. So as the grape juice ages, a thick, pungent residue begins to form and separate naturally from it. Then, at just the right time, they drain the juice through a network of tubes that snake from the bottom of each barrel, leaving nothing behind in the original container except the sour-smelling sediment, the dregs. So in this fermentation process, the purifying regimen is not performed just once, though. They drain the juice out again, and they drain the juice out again and again, and the whole process repeats it until all that residue with its filthy stench is separated and removed. So because if not for this intentional, consistent unsettling from one vessel to the next, the juice can never be rid of the impurities that would keep it from maturing. Let me say that again in our spiritual lives. I think that's a great spiritual connection. If not for this intentional, consistent unsettling, which is what this chapter is called, from one vessel to the next, the juice can never be rid of those impurities that would keep it from maturing, from developing its clear, soft color and its lusciously sweet smell that we get when we eventually have wine. It is being continuously relocated. Being continuously relocated is what refines and prepares it for its intended purpose. So think of that in our spiritual walks right now and what we're going through, being separated and removed. As we go through this process of refining, God is separating and removing the foul stench, the aroma, or the things that just are not of Him. And so I just love that. So she goes on to say that comfort and steadiness is what we crave in our lives. But overstaying our welcome in one place can rob us of the work that God intends to do in the next one. Let me say that again, because that's what we're going through right now. Comfort and steadiness is what we crave. We had a great place at the homeschool. It was great. We had comfort, we had steadiness, we were growing, everything was great. But overstaying our welcome in one place can rob us of the work God intends to do at the next one. Now, I know as in my walk, I've been just seeking the Lord in this, and I believe that He has immeasurably more than we can ever ask or imagine in this next phase of this next homeschool, at Community Christian Homeschool. Now, I'm not just talking about Community Christian Homeschool because this is for everyone. So hear me when I say, in His wise and sovereign way, He often includes seasons of unsettledness where He transfers us out of the comfort and complacency of familiarity and moves us into a new place and position. It is a necessary part of His process. Let me say that again. It is a necessary part of His process. In order for us to spiritually grow, we have to move, we have to go, we have to be called. Otherwise, we don't change. And so each phase represents another refining stage in the divine progression of life. He deposits us into one season with its own unique set of joys, challenges, people, and problems, and He lets us sit there for a while, processing us, pressing us, sifting us, and purifying us. So as we were going through where we were, He let us sit in the homeschool for the last 10 years. That's where we've been. Then at the right time, when the work that needs to happen there is done. He unsettles us. Sometimes in a way that feels forcible, sudden, and painful. Surely, myself included, we were not planning on moving in this year, maybe the way down the future, but definitely not in this year. So it feels forcible and painful. Other times it can be nearly in an undetectable way. But either way, here's what I want you to hear. He strategically pours us into a new place and space with new people, new circumstances, and with new life dynamics, knowing that this new environment will be the most suitable for whatever he wants to reshape us into next. Hear that. This environment will be the most suitable for whatever he wants to reshape us in next. And then he does it again and again and again from a heart of love. Hear that. When God is unsettling you, moving you, he's doing that because he loves you. He wants you to get closer to him, and he knows that as we don't change, we won't get closer to him. And so it goes back to Jeremiah 48:11, where it says, because then, if we're never poured out from one container to the other container, then we stay unchanged. And a foul taste remains in us, and a foul aroma sticks to us. Think of that wine dredging process. Unless they were poured out from one to another, all that residue stays in there. So I don't know about you, but I want to embrace the unsettling, knowing that it's refining me and purifying me and bringing me closer to the Lord. So if this week you're starting to feel panicked or alarmed, think about that wine being, or the Moab being poured out from one to another, and it's not changed. And God says that's not a good thing when we remain unchanged. We want to be excited and not fearful of the new places and the new challenges, knowing that as we step out in faith, we will trust him more and more each day. And that's why he does the unsettling. Because when we're settled, is there really need to trust God? No, everything's kind of going along. But when we're unsettled, when we don't know where our kids are going to go next year, we really have to put that faith and that trust in God. And that is a part of the purifying and the refining process that he is continually doing in us to make us closer to Christ and to grow with him. And this will continue to reshape us to be more like him. And isn't that the ultimate goal? So I hope this encouraged you this week. I love you. Please, as always, if you have any questions or concerns, give me a call, come to me. Have a wonderful and blessed week, homeschool family.